Thanks to the support as a channel member, the man himself, Ryan Lawson. You're right. Normally I'd take advantage of a trip to Bruges and fill up on Belgian fries because they're fantastic. But as I mentioned to you the other day, finally doing this vegan thing I've been threatening for years. So I can't have all those chips cooked in animal fat. No, I do remember when I did it as a joke when I was managing Forest Green as well. Yes, I recognise the irony. Hello and welcome to part 79 of the Greek Odyssey. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have both games against Club Bruges in the Champions League group stages. Since you were last with me, we have continued our excellent start to the league season. As you can see, we are top of the table, 7 wins from 7. Lensina is the top scorer in the division. He's the highest average rated player in the division, and he's scored his first goal for Argentina now at just 22 years old. 1 goal, 7 caps for Argentina. He's a 4.5-star player. Doesn't that make him our best player? It does. Jorge Lensina is the next absolute superstar off the Apollon production line. But he's not the only one who's been playing well. We've been getting some good performances out of a number of our players. Carnevale scored an absolutely stunning goal in this game. It's very rare you see this goal in Football Manager, which is why I want to show it to you. I don't normally go back and show you goals from previous matches, but seeing a player really round a goalkeeper really skillfully is so rare in Football Manager. It's worth having a little look. Ball over the top for Carnevale, just rounds the keeper beautifully. Such composure. What a finish. He's now injured for a month, so Acosta's in the team now and scoring goals, which means Tennessee is having to have some time out of the league side because we can't fit him in because of the non-EU thing that I talk about every video. But of course, that isn't an issue in the Champions League. So we're showing 2 Champions League games today. If we win them both, and let's face it, after beating Bayern and Ajax, we should beat Bruges twice. If we win both of these, we're into the Champions League knockout rounds without even breaking a sweat this time. It would be fantastic. So this is the team we're putting out there for the first game against Bruges, which is the home game. We've got Tennessee in goal, a back four of Pesic, Michaelis, Criado and Hernandez at right back. Felipao got fit again, then got injured again. He's now going to be out for another couple of weeks with sprained ankle ligaments this time. This man is picking up some injuries lately. Since the start of August, and bearing in mind it's only mid-October, since the start of August, he's missed 2 weeks with a damaged heel, 5 weeks with a hernia, and now another month or so with sprained ankle ligaments. Little bit of a worry for Felipao, but it does mean that Hernandez and Pesic both getting quite a lot of game time, both in the league and the Champions League. Milo's going to be at the base of the midfield, Duffy and Cordoba ahead of him, and then our Argentinian front 3, Sanchez, Acosta and Lensina. And that, I mean, that's a front 3 that started for Argentina before. Even Acosta, who doesn't play for us, 2 goals internationally already. So let's jump into the game. Let's hopefully put on a little bit of a show at the newly renamed Apollon Stadium. In fact, I've still got the ID numbers on. I need to turn them off because they're a frustration. But as you can see, we have officially renamed the ground the Spaghetti Had. It was the best suggestion that I had in the comments. Obviously, Mrs Wearmouth, very famous for our world-famous spaghetti. Without Mrs Wearmouth's spaghetti bolognese, we wouldn't have Apollon. We wouldn't have our youth structure. We never would have had Ryan Lawson. So it was always, as soon as it was suggested, it was always going to be the Spaghetti Had. Right, we are favourites here. Go out there, do your thing. I do need to remember to turn off those those ID things before the next match because they just annoy me. When you click on any player, they're there, just ID numbers everywhere. It helps with modding, and I needed it to do the modding, to change the stadium names. You can't just change a stadium name in-game. If you want to know how I did it, I did put a video out earlier in the year when I did it in the Born series. I'll try and remember to link to it down in the description. Your best bet, though, would be to just type LOLLUJO stadium name into YouTube, and the video should come up and it will show you how you rename a stadium name. It's just literally 1 line of code that you just have to save in the right place. Really easy stuff. Ball over the top for Cordoba. Cordoba is in, and that is a pretty poor effort, if you ask me. And we need to be doing a little bit better than that. We should be ahead by now against Bruges. Let's ask for some creativity. It would be typical Kev stuff if after beating Bayern and Ajax, who have 10 Champions League wins between them, we then struggle to get past Club Bruges, who haven't been able to win a game at all in their first 2 matches. Sanchez wins the ball back on this left-hand side. He's just going to continue charging forward, but the ball is, the shot, it was rubbish. 2 really poor shots. We've got 5 Argentinians. 6, is Milo Argentinian? We've got 6 Argentinians in this team. Tennessee, Milo, Cordoba, and the front 3. None of them doing their thing yet. Michaelis there as the sole Greek representative, trying to get himself an attempt on goal, but his header is high and wide as well. And now we lose one of those Argentinians as Sanchez has picked up a little bit of a knock. Who on earth is Simos Bekas? He's come from our youth system, has he? What nonsense is this? A youth player? Duffy can play left wing. We could bring Dominguez on. How good is Duffy out there? It's not. I think we waste Duffy a little bit putting him out there. Shall I, rather than trying to find reasons not to, should we just bring on a young Greek player and just give him an opportunity to show us that he's any good? He might be a superstar. Who knows? It's still 0-0 as we hit half-time in this game. This is not what the script was for today's episode. I'm not going to get aggressive. We'll just do assertive. Far from pleased with what I've seen so far. We do need to score some goals. We're going to go attacking as well. We've got to win this. This would be an incredible waste after the start we've had if we ended up going into those final 2 games that will be on tomorrow's episode needing results. That's not... We've done the hard work now. We should be able to cruise through the last couple of matches and not really worry if we lose against Bayern Munich and Ajax. Lensina, it's not a pass. He's tackled and it ends up with Acosta. But his shot is just as bad as every other shot we've seen in this game so far. We've now had 2 clear-cut chances, 1 half chance, and we're just not playing very well. We are playing well. We're just not finishing very well. Criado plays it forward to Duffy. Duffy to Cordoba, who's now charging through again. Plays it into the path of Acosta, who has a shot from range that actually I think was a little better than it looked on first inspection, but it's still gone wide. It doesn't really matter. Bruges have conceded 8 goals in their first 2 games. How is this a thing that is happening after the start we've had to this Champions League campaign? Milo now with the corner, and it does get past the first Bruges defender, but there's still none of our boys in there to finish the job off. Duffy now plays it to Hernandez. Hernandez looking for Lensina, doesn't find him, and it's just wasteful from us again, but Lensina has won it back there. He is in, and it's another really tame effort from one of our attackers. What is happening? Somebody do a football. Lensina's going to come off. We're going to bring Fernandez on for him, see if he can liven things up a little bit. And we're going to bring Dominguez on for Cordoba. Youngsters coming on as we try and shake things up and grab a goal. A draw in the Champions League is never bad, but we should be winning this. Acosta. He's got absolutely nobody supporting him, so he's got to do it on his own, and he does. What a goal for Marcus Acosta. That's 2 in 2 now for him since the injury to Carnevali has given him the opportunity in the side, and that is a piece of individual brilliance that was needed inexplicably in this game that we should have won comfortably, and that is excellent from Acosta. They've just backed off him, let him have all the time and space in the world to get his shot away, and he's just picked his spot. Far bottom corner, lovely effort, lovely goal, and hopefully we don't now mess it up from here. Bekas plays it into the path of Fernandez. 2 of the youngsters combining. Cross to Acosta, but he can't get a hold of it. It's back with Hernandez, another one of the youngsters. It's a very, very young Apollon team here today. This might be why we've struggled. Fernandez is in, and that's a lovely goal from Pedro Fernandez. And I think that's really one of our first looks at this young lad who is the reason Marola's not in the Champions League squad. We don't need Marola because we've got Fernandez, and I think Marola probably does need to be moving away from the club now because we've got Fernandez as the backup for Lensina on this side. One of them is going to be leaving in January. It'll either be Lensina or Marola. If we get a massive offer for Lensina, we'll let him go. But otherwise, we've got to move Marola on because Fernandez has just proven there that he is ready to be in this first team mix a little bit more often. 2-0, much more like what we were expecting. And now we've lost Sanchez for 6 weeks, so it's going to be another opportunity for Antoine German to get back into the team. Another £2 million, always handy. Pat on the head for Duffy. I always love looking at Paul Duffy because his hair is just spectacular. Right, couple of league games, then we're going to play Bruges again. A couple more league wins later over PAOK and Panionios, who interestingly was second in the league before we beat them. They're still up in third place at the moment. They're having an incredible season because they were relegated 2 years ago, won Super League 2 last year, and are now right up here challenging for a Champions League spot. I've tried to figure out what's gone on. There was a board takeover, but they're not rich. It wasn't a tycoon one. It was just a promotion from within. They've not spent loads of money. 185,000 this season, 5,000 the season before. Manager-wise, have they had a new manager? No, he's been there 3 years. So he's the manager who got them relegated. I don't know what's gone on at Panionios. Something's gone on. And all of a sudden, they're quite a good team. Their star player is a 29-year-old Spanish player. We better scout him. If he's their best youngster, we better give him a little bit of a scout. But he's not doing it. He's played one substitute appearance. It's a mystery. What's also a mystery is how we've now got more players in the Greek national squad than anybody else. In fact, I think we're level with Olympiacos. Both got 5 players developed by us. So I don't think Michaelis counts as developed by us. So I think let's try and find our 5. Let's see if I can recognise my former players in the Greek national squad. So Goufas is in regularly. He's out on loan at Cagliari this season, so he's now in the full Greek squad. Thales Syrikos was one of ours, I think. 4 caps for Greece now. We sold him to Porto 3 or 4 years ago now without him ever really getting anywhere near the team, but he's now playing in Saudi Arabia and has made it into the Greek national team as well. I don't know why I need to say Greek. Androutsos is still knocking around in there, but he wasn't developed by us. Kalapitas was in here somewhere. Yeah, Kalapitas is still in there. That's 3. Lebrou, I'm assuming, is around somewhere. Although I can't see him. It did say 5, and I think Lebrou was on the list. But unless he's been dropped out. So this was like 3 weeks ago. Perhaps there's been more internationals announced since then. And then Papanenagis is in there as well. He's on loan at Parma, and he's made it into the full Greek national team. I guess these are the players who need to be playing more games for us. I hear you, comments section. Who is Lebrou must be the 5th, but he's not in this time, unless Michaelis counts. What age was Michaelis when we signed him? So he's 26 now. He would have been 21 when we brought him in. Does that count as developed by us? I find it hard to believe that he counts as developed by us. That's a familiar name. Is that just because? Yeah, that's because that's the guy at Porto we wanted to sign a few years ago. That's why he's a familiar name. We're slowly but surely starting to populate the Greek national team. But anyway, we're trying to beat Bruges. This is the team that we're putting out there to try and do it. I think it's pretty much the same team as the previous match, although Felipao is now fit to come in and play at right back. Can only play the first half though, but we'll play him in the first half. He needs some match fitness. He is well away from match fitness. Carnevali's also recovering from an injury, and he's going to come in on the left-hand side in the absence of Sanchez, who's suspended and injured at the same time, and German's not registered in our Champions League squad. So Carnevali, I mean, when I signed him, it was with a view to him being a winger or an inside forward for us. He's very, very quick. He's very talented, but he's very short and not a great finisher. So it makes sense for me for him to be out on the wing and Acosta in as our striker. I've had a couple of people in the comments suggest that Vinicius was a flop, the player that I brought in initially to replace Damien, and then had to sell at a loss this summer just gone. I would argue he wasn't a flop in the sense of he wasn't good enough and it was a bad signing, because there's 2 factors. Factor number 1, he got injured. He got a long-term injury pretty much as soon as Damien left, Vinicius got injured. So during that period where he would have been getting a run in the team, he was unavailable for 6 or 7 months with a serious injury. So that allowed Carnevali to step in and basically take his spot, even though I'd originally signed him to be a winger. He had to go up front because of the circumstances. And And what was there was they're the two factors: the emergence of Carnevale. Carnevale then pushes him down the pecking order, who came in on a free transfer, and I didn't expect him to come in and score 20 goals last season and get in the full Italy squad as a striker. So injury, emergence of Carnevale. That's why Vinicius fell down to third choice striker. At which point we couldn't justify his wages, which is why he had to move on. If he was earning $5,000 a week, we probably would have kept him around for a little bit longer and taken a risk on him. But at 70 grand a week, if he's not going to be playing, let's move him on. So that's what we did. But I wouldn't argue it was a complete flop. I don't think it was a bad signing. I think he was just a little bit unlucky. You occasionally get a player like that where you bring him in and on paper it looks like it should be a good signing. I still think on paper Glauber Vinicius looks like a good signing, and nobody said at the time that's a waste of money, Kev. There's a few people who said should have signed someone Greek, but there wasn't anyone we could afford at the time. I think he was fine. Maybe. Right. What's going on in this group? So Bayern beat Ajax on match week 3 or match day 3, whatever we call it here in the Champions League. So that does mean if Bayern beat Ajax again, and I think we are all playing at the same time this time. So if Bayern beat Ajax and we beat Bruges, that means both of us qualify. And in actual fact, if it's a draw in the Bayern game, we qualify anyway because Ajax won't be able to catch us. And then it will just be Ajax trying to chase Bayern. But I think Bayern qualify over a draw because on the head-to-head, Bayern would have a win and a draw over Ajax. So Ajax have to win. Otherwise, us and Bayern both qualify now. Even if we lose, we'd qualify because we'd be sat there on 9 points. Is that the case? Not necessarily, because Ajax could still overturn us on head-to-head, theoretically. So that would be a weird thing. We could potentially have Bayern qualified, but us not, but us above them in the table. I think. Kev does maths, everybody. Kev does maths. Why are we not winning again? Why are we finding it so hard to score goals against Club Bruges when the other two teams found it so easy to score against them? Lensina, I thought he was curling that in beautifully, but not quite. What an effort, though. The bend on that was something quite ridiculous. Pesic with the in-swinger, and it hits the crossbar. I'm not sure whose header that was, but I think we've won a penalty as part of the ensuing kerfuffle. The referee points to the spot. We have got a penalty, and this is our opportunity right on the stroke of half-time to put us 1-0 up. It's going to be Acosta to take, and Acosta scores, and it's Bruges 0, Apollon 1, and that puts us up to 12 points as things stand, and it no longer matters what goes on in the Bayern-Ajax game. We're qualifying if it ends like this. And again, that's not true, because if Ajax beat Bayern, yeah, ignore that. Edit that out, Kev. You're not going to edit it out, are you? You lazy monster. Editor Kev sits over there. That's why I'm looking that way. Lazy editor Kev. Goodness me. Right. Let's continue. Let's continue and try and grab a couple more goals in this second half. What is going on in the Bayern Ajax game? Has it already happened? It doesn't look like it's going on currently. So that means Ajax have already lost twice to Bayern. I think that's what it means. I don't think Bayern are currently winning. All that maths I did before was for nothing. Now I've got to edit out the whole video so far. Just leave it in. Take your medicine, Kev. Leave it in. Goodness me. Right, Duffy on the edge of the area. We're going to make some changes in a second. This is our last highlight before we mix things up a little bit. But it's kind of, I was supposed to take Felipao off at half-time. Who was reminding me to do that? I'm going to break him again. Acosta, not quite, but we need to get Felipao off and sharpish. Hernandez can come on for another opportunity playing at right back for us. And then we're going to take off Lensina for Fernandez again. And we should probably take off Carnevale as the final change. So Paparounis gets an opportunity on that side. This time another one who's come through our youth setup. Another young Greek player, 3-star potential ability. Not likely to ever be good enough to pester our first team very much, but as we've seen with some of those players who've made it into the national team, might well be good enough to be a Greek international. So maybe I need to take some of these Greek youngsters a little bit more seriously. I think Michaelis has just got that goal disallowed, hasn't he? He gets a lot of goals disallowed from these corners. I'm not sure why it's Milo who it doesn't say why it was disallowed. Milo took the corner. Oh, so no, it is Michaelis was pushing another player. I don't know why it was showing Milo on there before, because it wasn't Milo's goal. It was Michaelis' goal. That was very odd. Right. Still only 1-0. 15 minutes to go. I would very much like a second goal just to rubber stamp things. Giving away a penalty, not on the agenda. Although, as I was saying before with my terrible maths, a draw is good enough for us. We're with Bayern having already beaten Ajax, even in defeat we go through almost certainly, but a draw is enough. But it would have been nice to get a win off the back of all this. In fact, I'm going to go attack him, because looking at those match stats, there's absolutely no excuses for us not winning this game. And for in the interests of morale and momentum and all that kind of stuff, I think we need to go and grab a winning goal here, just to keep the consecutive victories rolling on. We've won every game in all competitions since the end of last season, since the Greek Cup final. So we don't want to pick up our first draw now in a game we definitely should have won, and Acosta's done brilliantly there. And Acosta finally getting a run in the team is finally starting to look like the striker we thought we'd signed when we brought him in. This is a very good piece of centre-forward play from Marcus Acosta here. Aimless ball forward. The goalkeeper commits to it. Probably shouldn't have done. Acosta gets there first. One touch into the back of the net. It's Club Bruges 1, Apollon Smyrnis 2. Learn the name of your own football club, Kev. And hopefully that is now going to be enough for us to qualify. It was enough for us to qualify anyway. We needed the win. What is wrong with me today? It's like my brain isn't fully connected to my mouth, which is problematic. Bruges are in again, but it's a good save from Tennessee. Tennessee has had some very, very good performances recently. He really is quite clearly the best goalkeeper at the club now. He's another level from Osman. And I mean, he's Argentina's goalkeeper. We've got one of the elite nations' first choice goalkeeper in goal for us, and he's still young and getting better. So he was always going to end up better than Osman, I guess. But it is nice to see just how good Tennessee's getting. It'd just be nice if someone could slip him a Spanish passport from somewhere. I know the option would have been there to loan him out, but that option's passed now. He's too good to loan out for 2 years to get a Spanish passport. We probably need to start doing that with any new South American teenagers we bring in now. Just need sending immediately on loan to Spain for 2 years. We need a Spanish affiliate club, but they're not letting me have one at the moment because Mrs Wearmouth says we're still not big enough. Paparounis has scored on his debut. It's 3-1, and Antonis Paparounis, in his first appearance for Apollon, grabs his first goal for Apollon, and that is that's how you announce yourself as a young player coming through the youth system. A few people said in the comments how it was a sign of poor squad management that my Champions League squad was so thin this year. I present to you 4 wins from 4 and a bench that was just full of Greek players, because that's all we've got knocking around in the squad. Opportunities for our youngsters. They're coming in the Champions League rather than the league. I'm being forced into it, but one way or the other, the young Greek players are finally getting some opportunities, and that's got to be a good thing. But we are top of our group. I am still going to show you the last 2 group games because it's Bayern Munich and Ajax, and they're interesting games. And plus, the opportunity to win 6 from 6 in the Champions League doesn't come along very often for a team like us. If we look at the calibre of teams who've got 4 from 4 so far, it's Paris Saint-Germain, Manchester United and Apollon Smyrnis. We are the only 3 teams carrying a 100% record in these Champions League group stages. We're a good team now, boys and girls, and I want to continue to prove that in tomorrow's video. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos, and thank you very much for watching.